What's up, y'all? Today I'm going to get back on the topic of politics, but not necessarily politics itself. More of us as a people, as a nation, especially. Um, it seems to me like what I think the biggest issue is, it's almost like the country itself is under like extreme ADHD when it comes to importance. Um, it's I guess you could just boil it down to like trend chasing. So, and not in the sense of like fashion, even though that's a part of it, but in a sense of like hot topics, just topics in general. So, and we chase the trend in the sense of current instead of as a collective, like throughout time. So it's like right now, for example, everybody blames the current administration for what's happening. Everybody blames Trump for the state of the nation, but Trump can only mirror something that's already there. He's not creating anything. He's not creating new issues. He's exposing old ones. And I'm not giving him credit, right? But my problem is right now, everybody's ravaged. Like they want to get the government. You know what I mean? And anybody from the 90s or the 70s or the late 60s, anybody from a time where we were on this edge here as a country, as a collective, as a people, you have to understand that what gets us off the mark, aside from us as individuals for what we do in our daily life, like, you know, the drugs that we buy into, all the problems that build up. But those things have been there forever. They're going to stay there. And that's going to take a lot more time, and that's going to take a lot more support to fix. The biggest issue that needs to be fixed immediately is the new topic. Everybody swarms the topic like piranhas. They gobble it up. They think everything's gone. A new topic comes out and they're on to that one. In the current, that's cool. But in the past, that's not, because you need all that for reference so you have a more accurate assessment of what you're seeing. Trump isn't special. George Bush Jr. had us in the same situation. It's just the lie got sold and everybody believed it and convinced us to come together as a nation to support him instead of what you see right here. And it's because information has become more accessible. So a lot of people aren't falling for it this time. You see what I mean? Our towers fell and our president was reading books to kids, and we're in the middle of war and he's golfing. Like nothing's really changed. You understand that? We make it about Republicans and Democrats. It's really about us and what we buy into and what we believe, to be gullible. And if we're going to compare who's worse, then we're also acknowledging that we're always settling for lesser evil. You see what I mean? So to me, the biggest issue is the fact that we don't hold on to information. We don't retain shit. And it's because of all the other things, right? That's why you see a lot of people now telling people to unplug and telling people to get out in nature and telling people to be outside and stay off the screens and telling people to do all these other things. But that's true, but that's only part of the solution, because you still have to exist in the country that you're in, and you still have to deal with all the things that comes from that. outside of just completely disappearing, you can't really get away from the world all the time. And not everybody can flock to these places or these corners in our country where that can be done. We're not getting raised like Grizzly Adams anymore. Like we're out here, we're not most of us aren't built to survive the wilderness. We don't have the skills, we don't have the teachings. So that can't be the answer for everybody. There's still a sense of government that has to exist and a sense of governing just in general. It doesn't matter if we govern ourselves or if we have a establishment to do that, right? Either way, they got to get held accountable. It's like I said before, if we were governing ourselves and we had issues, we'd be forced to sort them out. But we think because the government is like an entity that we don't have any power to sort it out. So we fight each other instead of fighting them. And then we go divide ourselves at the polls based upon loosely slapped together false beliefs. Because ain't none of that shit for real. They just play tug of war with us. And that's all it really is. While they get rich, while they put laws in place to help their friends, while they ignore justice, while they get to escape and regular people get scapegoated. But as far as we're concerned, we have to keep it all together, because it's just like the biggest issue that everybody talks about, the wars and the Epstein files, right? Or this Israel ownership or this Israel partnership. It's not like, it's been forever. If you can recognize that and you talk about that and you say it when you're talking, it makes you madder than what you are if you just see it as an isolated incident. We tend to see things these days as an isolated incident. We tend to lack the recall to put it together with the past. And this is why I always push people to research, check out some documentaries, read, find some books, find whatever works for you. However you retain and consume information the best, there are plenty credible things that will help you with this. So when you see something you've seen before or history has shown us before, you're adding it into what you're saying because it makes it more severe. We have this thought that Donald Trump just waltzed into the office and he's a corrupt piece of shit criminal and he's a sneaky little bastard who's doing all this mischief. It's not real. It's not fucking real, okay? It's the same across the board. It's the same with all of them. You're only speaking from your experience. That's all we can really do and what we've observed and what we've heard. A lot of people go around singing the praises of Obama, right? And I'm not trying to bash. I don't care, okay? I don't know these people. That's what I always say. But anyway, people who pumped up Obama, right? You're going around touting he was such a good president. But do you remember all the middle class Americans that got forced into lower class? Do you remember the recession of the middle class? And look now, that shit don't exist. You got working class and you got elites. You got people who are either struggling, like just don't have nothing, so they don't worry about nothing. And then you got people who are just barely getting by, might have a little money put up. And then all the people in between that. There is no middle class anymore. There is no middle class. That came from that. He was president during that time. Again, okay, who bailed out GM? Who gave GM all that money? Since the Democrats like to cry about billionaires and the elite and all this corruption and fuckery that goes on, all these benefits that we don't get as normal citizens. Who bailed them out? Was there a war at that time? Yes. Was there illness, breakouts, like we see right now? Yes. Was there conflict amongst the people? Yes. Was there religious conflict? Yes. The Catholics, the Vatican. Was there corruption that was being shouted about? Probably. I'm not going to say yes because I don't recall. Because I've grown up only seeing them as corrupt. That's what really blew my mind about who Trump rallied, who he got behind him. It was a shocker. Not really a shocker, but it's like, it's to be studied by some psychologist somewhere. So the biggest thing that we have to remember is to not forget this time, to bring it all with us when we're looking at this shit. Because when you see it accurately, it's no longer Trump in your scope. It's the government. It's no longer Republicans or Democrats that you're looking down. It's all of them. It's where's the unity? It's why isn't it just a democracy? It's why don't we get more people to pick from? Who the hell wanted to pick between Hillary and Donald Trump? Seriously, let's be real. We couldn't find two better people in America. That's tragic. Tragic. And that's not a new thing. A lot of these people end up being coming out of nowhere people or that thing you threw away a long time ago and you're like, it's been long enough. Let's dig it back out of the trash. And then you wonder why the Democrats don't, as far as not the citizens that are Democrats, but the politicians, why do they put a lame duck up against what is being deemed a political crisis if he gets elected? Did you really think, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you picked a worthy candidate, it would have been a landslide, like it was being bragged about being, that it didn't actually end up being. And that's partially because of who you put against them the first go around. It's partially because of who you keep putting up against them for some reason. Me personally, I could care less if a woman becomes president. It doesn't make a difference to me. It's not my priority. You see what I'm saying? Like, the priority is the corruption and the bullshit. But you look at a country that was in the era of battle of the sexes, which is just, again, to be studied. What do you think's going to come from that? And Hillary had a lot of baggage as a politician, not as a human being, as a politician and as a human being. So again, did you want to win or didn't you? See what I mean? And so somebody like me who's lived my life outside of it or in the middle of it, questioning all the ridiculous, childish bullshit, it was easy for me to see that. It's easy for me to think that, oh, you wanted Trump to win. It was meant for him to win. It was already agreed on behind the scenes. So there's no consequence. Think about the stuff he's done since the very beginning of all this when he got interested. Just go over that little timeline. Just fuck what he did in his past and Jeffrey Epstein and the little Miss Beauty pageant and all that other weird shit and his ordered wife and all. Fuck all that. Just look at what he did from the beginning of him wanting to be president. This whole deal. Until I saw it live, I would have thought somebody organizing a raid on a Capitol, on a U.S., on a government building would be seen as terrorists and they would serve life or get the death penalty under treason. That goes above and beyond a protest. That goes above and beyond a boycott. And not only was it organized and oddly enough, we don't even talk about it. Like we literally had our own people commit a terrorist act, a treasonous act against our own country that weren't, but it was arranged by a politician. It was influenced by a politician who's not really a politician until now. Acquires 20-some felonies and then gets to turn around, gets impeached, and then gets to turn around and become president. It's almost like you have to constantly fact check and read over it. Like you almost have to like be like, no, wait, there's something I'm not getting about this. Something. No, it's all just fuck you, American people, and we're saying all the quiet shit out loud now. We're rubbing your noses in it, and okay, if I was an elitist and I was this group of people, what I would be saying behind the scenes is we're rubbing all their noses in it. And they're still not only are they still not doing anything, but also they're still not dropping any of the division which got them here in the first place. They're still keeping the same fucking division and it's actually getting turned up instead of getting destroyed by sensible human beings. And I'm not trying to talk down on people with all the political allegiances. I mean, fuck the feelings. More people are starting to see it now than ever. So a lot of the older folks can cling so tightly to these brainwashed ideals about politics. But a lot of these young people, these younger people that are coming up, not all the people covering this shit, they're already being like, no. And you got all the people like me who are coming in saying, it's always been this way, this date, this date, that guy, this guy, that guy. I mean, you could go on until you passed out. And yet to be arrested is anybody for any of the shit. Money returned to the citizens, not yet. Never gonna happen. So what are we doing? We have to hang on to the past and bring it with us. When the new president comes, we can't do that shit. We can't just copy and paste Donald Trump this back and forth and put it right there and do it all over again. I always said these people are defending this shit like it's their family. Like I used to bitch about it so much. I'm like, why are these people doing this shit? Like, why are they fucking vandalizing their neighbor's shit and fucking all kind of craziness bullshit? Why? What is wrong? What's happened to people? Not them, us. They've always been them. It's always been them and us. What happened to us? People getting divorced, people like kicking people out of their life over make-believe and corruption. All the people from the outside looking in all know that it's all bullshit. All the people in the middle who actually were not in the middle out of just not caring or laziness or blah, 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 whatever you want to say. We're in the middle because we recognize we're in the middle because we look around and notice, hey man, nothing about my life really has ever changed based on something they've done. Not a single thing. It's pretty much stayed the same or slowly gotten worse. And I don't want to hear excuses when the Democrats have had equal opportunity since JFK's assassination. You've had exactly the same amount of time to do whatever it is you needed to do and get the support for you, so much so, like Abraham Lincoln when he abolished slavery. If you really did all the things that you were supposed to do, that you like to run around bragging about, oh, we had gas to $2. Yeah, okay. And there was a recession and there was a war and there was a fucking pandemic and like nobody, oh, the gas is high. Yeah. And this thing isn't happening and this thing isn't happening and we're in another war and everything is a joke. Nothing works right. Everything is, no one cares. There's no funding for this and you're getting fought here, and the pyramid scheme of insurance and the stock market and all the other pyramid schemes that go around and get called business, the thievery that is social media and your likeness, all the things. We're under a surveillance state. We're blaming Trump. George Bush started that. And it was already running. He's just the one that got to say it out loud for the first time. So let's keep it all together now. I don't care who you are, Democrat, Republican, or what, but we're all people and we all kind of want the same shit. All that personal preference shit, if we just flushed it down the toilet, we'd have nothing to argue about. That's why they distract us with it. That's why they divide us. That's why they label us. That's why they make us feel guilty for natural human shit. That's it. So if we flushed all that shit, there'd be nothing to argue about because we'd all want the same shit. Minus the elitist. This is capitalism that's never been regulated. It's actually been influenced and helped. We don't have a choice when they don't give us a choice. That's not capitalism. That's tyranny and control. So, I don't know. If you guys would like to, you can easily prove me wrong and show me a time when the country was booming and the truth was out and there weren't any wars, there weren't any recessions, there weren't any stock market crisis or anything like that, and I'd be happy to change what I got to say about it.